The End of Shonen Jump. Such a dramatic title, honestly. It's so dramatic, and that's definitely what the title of the video is going to be, because I think it's very relevant, because I have definitely heard this conversation here and there, and not just in, like, the last few years, but definitely in the last few months, and let me talk about that. So, in the last few weeks, there has been a quick succession of conclusions to Komi Can't Communicate, to Yozakura Family, and yes, even Undead Unluck. Now, obviously, Komi isn't in Weekly Shonen Jump, but I'm bringing it up because it obviously came to a quick conclusion, and there's just been a lot of conversation about series coming to a close after so many years of, just coming out in a manga magazine, and people are now wondering, what can they read next? Because obviously, stuff that people really got attached to and have been loving for literally maybe a decade or more, or even half a decade, is now basically over. And there's been a lot of conversation I have seen on forums, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Reddit. I've seen it everywhere, actually. People saying the end of the current Shonen Jump as we know it. It's been more dramatized than that, but I do think that there is some credibility, or at least some weight to talk about when it comes to that statement. That's a very blanket statement. And that is, honestly, when you take a look at Shonen Jump and what it currently has in its magazine, obviously all these titles here are in Weekly Shonen Jump. Some of them are like in Jump Plus and stuff, but basically when you look at what's like in Weekly Shonen Jump, like for instance like One Piece, Elusive Samurai, Kagurabachi, Sakamoto Days, Ruri Dragon, you kind of see that most of the stuff now within the magazine, it predates 2020, which is horrifying, actually. Like, when I sat down today and I was thinking about the conclusion of, like, Yozakura Family and then Undead Unluck and then Komi Can't Communicate, I was like, you're telling me basically everything in the magazine for Weekly Shonen Jump right now. The only thing I think that is actually in the magazine that predates 2020s, correct me if I'm wrong, please do. The only thing that predates 2020s is One Piece and Hunter x Hunter. I don't think there is currently, at this time, unless I'm misremembering, there is currently anything within the magazine right now that predates 2020. That's insane. Every series that basically I have been covering since basically I started a YouTube channel is gone. Besides One Piece now. And Hunter x Hunter. And Hunter x Hunter obviously appears here and there. That's a crazy thought. So obviously the emotions a lot of people have had as of late is it really the end of an era? The end of Shonen Jump, so to speak. Personally, I don't think so. I don't think it's the end of Shonen Jump and all that. Like I said, a very dramatic title. But I do think that Shonen Jump is definitely having a lot of pressure pains. I've talked about this in the past, and I've talked about how Shonen Jump is definitely starting to showcase that they definitely need a desperate shining star within their magazine. I think it's one of the big reasons why they've heavily pushed Kagurabachi, why Ichi the Witch is definitely being pushed to a degree. I don't think Blue Box is being pushed as hard. It is being pushed, but not to the same degree. It has its own niche community, but I do think that Kagurabachi and Sakamoto Days is definitely one of those series, obviously not counting One Piece, that is heavily being pushed. And I think that Shonen Jump truly wants to have something that can stand the test of time and be around for a while, because obviously One Piece is, let's be honest, it's getting closer to the conclusion. If you have seen the latest chapter, I've seen the spoilers and leaks of it. I'm not going to talk about it, don't worry, no, I'm not going to spoil you guys, but, it's very clear One Piece is getting close. You could feel it. It just, with, like, the way the story's progression has been, to just, like, Oda's health as well on top of that, to the multiple breaks and hiatuses, you could feel the conclusion in sight for One Piece. It's definitely there in the horizon. I say at the maximum, if I really wanted to give the maximum amount of years left of One Piece, which is a crazy thought to think about, I could see it ending in about 6 years. Maybe 8 if I want to stretch it, but I could see the series ending in about 6 years, which is insane because there's still so much that could really be talked about. But with the amount of lore drop within One Piece as of late, I do think that it's pretty close. I really do. And obviously 5 to 6 years, that's a lot of time. But when you think about the grand scale of One Piece, that really isn't. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is that when One Piece comes to an end, a massive, an unimaginable massive hole is going to be left in Weekly Shonen Jump. And I don't think truly there will be ever anything that could fill that massive hole that One Piece will leave behind. I just don't. Because you have anyone that joins the Weekly Shonen Jump lineup, they desperately want to be the next One Piece. They compete with Oda, they try to fight the giant, the legendary man himself, and obviously many have come and gone, and none has been able to. I mean, we have had people make record sales and stuff. Let's think of like Demon Slayer and JJK and stuff like that, but nothing has toppled the absolute might of One Piece, which makes sense. I mean, One Piece has over 1,100 chapters. I mean, go figure. I mean, most of the time nowadays, when you look at a Shonen Jump series, they don't even last 300 chapters anymore. They last at the maximum 200-something chapters. Like, let's think of JJK. Let's, think of Undead Unluck right here as a good example. I mean, even Sakamoto Days hasn't even hit 200 chapters yet. So, a lot of the new stuff that's very popular is just barely in the 200s. And you think about, 7 years ago, manga, oh man, it was so easy for manga to hit, 400, 600 chapters. I mean, looking at you Bleach, looking at you Naruto, I mean, My Hero Academia, another good example. We have entered into a little bit of a different era, I've noticed, as of late, to where a lot more stories within the catalog of Shonen Jump is, shorter. They're not short, but they're shorter than they were. Like, usually these stories now, at the maximum, last around the 200 chapter notice, and that's it. But most of the time I've seen that most stories like to end around maybe 180, 190, somewhere around in there, which I don't think is necessarily bad, because it's better than having a series overstay its welcome and wear out its welcome to where it's it's not enjoyable anymore. But at the same time, it's very clear that there isn't some, significant long stay power anymore for a lot of these stories, which is, I think, probably very scary for the head honchos and CEOs at Weekly Shonen Jump. I know, I can't imagine, it's not stressful. I mean, imagine just seeing all these series back-to-back coming to a close and all that, and the only really lifelong series you've had now in the magazine is One Piece and Hunter x Hunter. It's gotta be pretty scary, because you're gonna have to rely on a lot of new rising stars and stuff to be able to carry the magazine, and once One Piece is gone, One Piece won't be able to carry that on its back no more. It will legitimately have to be a magazine carried by new content with no previously established series that's been ongoing for decades at that point. So, the big point I'm trying to get at in terms of the conversation is that Weekly Shonen Jump is facing a crisis. A silent crisis, so to speak. Is it a desperate ending of Shonen Jump? No, like I said, title very dramatic. But I do think that Shonen Jump is probably really right now trying to find something that will be able to be a mainstay for a while and potentially be positioned in a way to replace One Piece when it ends. Now, I don't think anything will ever, replace One Piece, but I do think that Shonen Jump is trying to find something that can at least attract an audience enough to where the magazine will stay relevant. Because personally, I've had this theory in the past. I do think that when One Piece comes to an end, when the final chapter comes out, I could see Shonen Jump becoming digital. I could definitely see them move away from physical releases, in stores, to combat not just piracy, but also because, most people that really pick up the magazines nowadays, truly, is picking it up for One Piece. Casual people in Japan pick it up. Now, obviously, you have big fans and stuff that will pick up all these other stories, let's be honest. But I think that the majority that pick up Weekly Shonen Jump on a weekly basis is probably doing it for One Piece. So I do think that when One Piece is gone, most of the reader base is probably going to go with it. Because it's, it's probably one of the only things they're actually reading. So, yeah, I wanted to bring this topic up. I find it very fascinating, because I've been seeing that conversation circulating around a lot in communities and stuff, and I just wanted to tackle it. I don't know. What's your thoughts? Do you think that the end of Shonen Jump as we know it is soon upon us? Do you think that's just overdramatic? Do you think that they're going to have to go through some growing pains? Do you think that there's going to be something a part of this catalog that is already being constantly coming out? Do you think it's going to be able to replace the giant that is One Piece? Will it even be around? Let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below. I'm legitimately curious. But, I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for watching. Be safe, stay healthy, and I love you guys. Chibi out.